tatocat and welcome to my channel. Today we are playing Lucid9. Last time we had Rui and Miki meet up. Oh. Last time we had Rui and Miki make up. We found out Miki lived in the ghetto and we swallowed a bunch of pills when we were a child, which is depressing. And then we had Akira be Akira. And Shigure was Shigure. And now we have to meet super early in the morning to find evidence for these disappearances. And that's where we left off, with a bunch of people angry at us because we got them super early in the morning. Alright, let's get started. Well, look who actually showed up. Elizabeth's definitely the angriest. I probably shouldn't have pulled the blackmail card to get her here, but at the same time, I need as many people as I can get. You thought I wouldn't? Honestly, no. I was the guy who organized this. Why wouldn't I show up? Once an irresponsible person, always an irresponsible person. Would you like some pepper without salt? Really coming in with the insults. I'm just telling him how to improve. Sure you are. You haven't said a single constructive thing. Does he deserve it? He doesn't bloody take anything seriously. Has he ever excelled? Ever? Is this still about that stupid project from last year? It wasn't stupid. Clearly you don't have the brains to understand. And here comes Masato to the rescue, being Masato. Hey, lay off her. Guys, we can just... Stay out of this, Hihiko. Oh, what's wrong with Akira? Look, Elizabeth, I've tried to just ignore you. I thought you improved because Yama stopped talking about you. But you're too stubborn to think that you might be wrong. You know nothing about me. Stop shooting off your mouth like an ignorant... And girl, stop. Masato's gonna murder you. You come here and say that to me. What, Misaki? I understand that she needs to speak like a gangster, but this is like a foreign language. You both need to let loose before you spill and come done what you done, eh? For a second I found myself double-checking whether that was indeed Misaki Kazehaya who just spoke. Judging from the fact that everyone else looked just as bewildered as me, the answer is a resounding yes. The commotion immediately comes to a halt, Masato seemingly the only person who actually registered what Misaki just said. She's right. Ain't no use in us arguing. Well, alright then. Guess that's one way to defuse an angry Masato. What makes it a little scary is how easily Misaki could do so. Elizabeth and Rui turn away in a huff, but they stay silent. I'm not completely sure whether it is out of respect for Misaki, or if they simply don't have the energy to keep arguing. Well, this is getting off to a great start. Normally when I see question mark, I'm like, who was that? But in this time, judging by this language, it is definitely Shigure. It appears you acquired a respectable quantity of potential peons after all, Ishiyama. And now Shigure is here, which will either fix everything or make matters much more worse. I'm betting on the latter. Wait, isn't that... Irie? What are you doing here? Ew. I elbow him in the ribs to shut him up. He seems to understand. She's with me, obviously. What was that? And there was a little... I don't know what the was. Something was missing. But it was a quick one. I, on the other hand, have my own inquiry. By what means have you acquired yourself with Irie Hyuga? How do I know her? Same school, remember? And yet you have addressed her with some similitude of fellowship. So, how do you know her? I hold no obligation to acknowledge inquiries impelled by a marginally competent and plebeian. With this kind of affirmation of my hard effort, she moves into the group, examining each person from head to toe. They only stare back, unsure of how to react. Intriguing. Oh, I see. What are you doing? Shigure only returns to the center of the group without another word. My name is Shigure Inamoto. I am a freelance detective. Ain't you kind of young for that? I am 26 years of age, you tendentious imbecile, and legally certified. She flashes her badge at Masato, who only shrugs. You're 26? Yes. And with Shigure. Lecture not found. Again, free game. Not really all that mad. Pray keep yourself from any further counterprotective disruptions. After a moment of silence during which she takes a deep breath with Irie, comforting and patting her back, she seems to regain control. You have been summoned on account of an extremely important affair. As you might expect, I cannot divulge details due to the confidential nature of the case. However, I can tell you the following. We are searching for any information that may be related to the recent disappearance of Academy students. You must be meticulous, you must be witty, you must be adaptable, and above all, you must stay alive. Well then. I am screwed. I am not particularly good at that. I will probably die. If she says, I must stay alive. I am definitely dying in this. Her words carry unusual dramatic weight. A quick glance around the area confirms my suspicions. Every person is leaning toward Shigure, a glimmer of excitement in their eyes. Even Elizabeth seems interested. Heck, I'm looking forward to this. Turns out that Shigure can be inspiring when she really wants to. Investigate all the areas of the school until noon, where we shall reconvene at the garden rooftop to debrief. Leave no stone unturned. The lives of innocent citizens lie in our hands. 3, 2, 1. Break. Every person in the group tears off in every direction. Only Irie, Rui, and Shigure remain. Rui shuffles close to Shigure with a shy smile. I'm sorry, but would it be okay if I tagged along with you? Being a detective just sounds so cool. But, of course, only if it's okay with you and Irie. I noticed Shigure's chest puff up slightly, like a proud veteran aiming to impress the newbies. Rui probably scored extra points by including Irie. Well, if you insist, Irie. Irie glances from Rui to Shigure. and back, the edge of her brows furrowing slightly. Shigure, noting her hesitation, tries a comforting smile. Remember... Irie stares vacantly at Shigure for a long, long moment, then nods, the corners of her lips rising just slightly. It's settled. What's your name? I'm Rui Hayata. We must depart at once, Rui. Enlightenment awaits. She's so dramatic. And she promptly dashes away. Rui on her heels, Irie briefly glances in my direction as she follows them out. I spend an idle moment relishing the fresh air against my face and the glorious serenity of silence. Then I straighten my shoulders and evaluate my surroundings, ready to start my investigation. I am going to, quite honestly, look at all of them. I don't know which one I look at matters, so we're going to look at all of them, and I will read all of the things. We'll start with entrance, because it's at the top. Entrance. The offices lie near the school entrance. Maybe I can glean something from there. The question is, how can I legally obtain confidential information without license? Good question. Access to your informational database. I presume we are in agreement. It is Shigure. Well, I guess I found my license. I should have expected Shigure to come here. The faculty office does, after all, hold the office records. Anything from the other locations would mainly be hearsay. Certainly, Miss Inamoto. Please wait a moment while I prepare the database. As the secretary withdraws into the offices, Shigure turns to Rui, pushing her glasses up the bridge of her nose. Sadly, there is little glamour in our line of work. Much of it is limited to scouring through paperwork. Really? Yes, however, as your talents are better spent on proper investigation, we often delegate such tasks to menial workers. Suddenly her arm shoots out and pulls me by the shoulder. Exhibit A. Yama, what are you doing here? He shall, of course, be our manual labor. Wait, what? Oh, do detectives usually have those? Shigure straightens ever so slightly, feeling pleased by Rui's interest. But of course, is it not a staple in mystery literature? The erstwhile sidekick diligently records the many escapades of the capable detective. Wow, being a detective sounds so interesting. But that's literature. Oh, she's bad. Just then, the secretary conveniently pops out of the offices and slips a tablet into Shigure's hands. This system is digitized as per standard regulations, Miss Inamoto. Her eyes land on us. However, due to the confidential nature of this information, I cannot allow these students to... Come closer. Pardon? Come closer. The secretary glances around before inching forward, leaning down to meet Shigure's height. Shigure whispers something furiously into her ear, something that makes her eyes widen in shock. Well, if that's the case, then I suppose... Good. Off you go. I shall return this after it's been properly searched. The secretary obediently scurries off. Rui grins in clear admiration. That was incredible. So it was. What did you tell her? She agreed awfully fast. But I simply notified her that the three of you are undercover agents. And that's why you acted like it was a huge secret? Precisely. I stated that your identities must not be blown for the sake of the nation. That's really clever. That's also incredibly unbelievable. That, good people, is why it's vitally important to practice one's prowess with language. Manipulation is the key to obtaining information. That doesn't sound very moral. Again, Yama, private detective, not a monk. At any rate, we must proceed. Evidence awaits. She dramatically activates the tablet, flipping through the Academy database. The amount of pure information it holds is frankly disturbing. For each student, they not only have basic information, but details filtered from any linked social media accounts. Well, protege, would you like to take a look? I guess if you really... Yes! I knew she was talking about Rui. Rui bolts in front of me, snatching the tablet out of my hands. She eagerly flicks through the tablet as Shigure looks on with a proud smile. Haven't I been working for Shigure for what, 3 days now, and Rui just met Shigure today? Yes, Yama. But Rui has kissed her butt a lot more. Wait, why do I care? I'd be free if she took my job. No more random assignments, no more verbal abuse. It would be heavenly. But you like it, Yama. Right? Rui suddenly leaps away from the tablet, startling me out of my thoughts. Oh gosh, I did not need to know that about Masato. But... nothing? Now I want to know. What is wrong with our beloved Masato? Nothing. I attempt to peer over her shoulder towards the evidence above all else. Had you lost your grip on that tablet, our lead would have been obliterated. I didn't even think of that. It is no big burden, but we must utilize our precious time we have been granted. She begins skimming through the tablet, eyes roving rapidly across the glass surface as she takes in every morsel of information. Yes. Oh, I see. What is it? What is it? We have one particularly very telling detail. Something that should be addressed before we move on. What? Ishiyama. She flings the tablet unceremoniously in my direction. I'm barely able to catch it in time. So much for prioritizing the evidence above all else. Summarize. Why me? Because you are dragging the group down with your uselessness. But... summarize. Sir, yes, sir. I dourly scan over the tablet as she hovers over my shoulder, or attempts to, except for her considerable lack of height. Well, I wave her demands, steadily immersing myself with data. Apparently, there's already been 3 official disappearances. The first was verified 6 days ago, the second was verified 4 days ago, and the third was verified just yesterday. Midorime no, second year, missing for 8 days. Toma Hayashi, first year, missing for 5 days. Akane Tsukino, second year, missing for 2 days. Wait, Akane? Why does that name sound familiar? Midorime no, Toma Hayashi, Akane Tsukino. Ishiyama, I pray give us something of marginal benefit before swine take to the air. Yeah. I continue skimming. There doesn't seem to be much connection with the student years, nor their hobbies, grades, or anything really. I guess I should start with the basics and work my way up. Maybe I'll find something. All 3 students are children of wealthy families. Irrelevant. 86% of the Academy's student population belongs to families with an income bracket of over 25 million yen. They also all lived on campus at the dorms, as does the majority of the academy faculty included. But here's the weird thing. Even during school break, which was when the first victim Midori Mayano disappeared, the academy enforces curfew to protect both its students and its property. The curfew is something like 11:30 p.m., right, Rui? Yeah. So on campus, students have this curfew at 11:30. All of the victims lived on campus, so they would have had to register for curfew. But according to these records, they all disappeared at night, even after registering for curfew. No one is supposed to be able to get in and out of after curfew. Just so. That's Ishiyama. We have a bit of a quandary on our hands. How did 3 students manage to leave during the time which they could not possibly do so? Leaving after academy curfew, if they wanted to stay out all night, why lock themselves in at all? Why not just stay out the whole day? If only one student had left after curfew, I could easily waive it as... If only one student had left after curfew, I could easily waive it away as an exception. Maybe they didn't want to get in trouble, maybe they really wanted to party or drink or do whatever academy students do. They had friends to help them out. But 3? In such a short time? Furthermore, it's 3 people who don't seem to have any strong relationship with each other. Excuse me, Miss Inamoto. The secretary pops out of nowhere looking very stern over her thin-rimmed spectacles. Wait a moment. I can't. I'm afraid I verified the identity of these students with the police headquarters, and they hold no record of undercover agents at this location. Well, they would hardly divulge that degree of intelligence to a mere layperson. They also warned me of your previous stunts. Come investigate on your own, Miss Inamoto. I cannot reveal confidential information to an ordinary student. She promptly whisks the tablet out of my hands and strides back into the office. Shigure stews in silence for a long moment. Yuri only tugs at her sleeves with a penitent expression. I'm sorry, Shigure. We shouldn't have come. Nonsense. This is simply a perfect demonstration of the faults of bureaucracy. What did we learn from those records? Nothing. Nothing that was not already publicly accessible. Imbeciles. Shigure. Ari's simple call seems to mollify Shigure. Well, at the very least, I suppose we've discovered some fairly important information. Primarily the fact that each student logged in for curfew before they curiously vanished. That's a good start at least. Sadly, not nearly significant enough. Then, how'd you propose we continue? Well, thankfully I anticipated that such an event might occur and made sufficient compensations. Come, Ari, Rui, Ishiyama. Renewed, she marches up the stairs to the 2nd floor. Gary hovers around the hallway before blasting into classroom 2B, hand sweeping in an overly extravagant gesture. Stop the presses. Rui's eyes light up at the display of histrionics. She barges in right behind Shigure, pointing dramatically into the distance. We have arrived. All eyes land on the peculiar sight, I try to stick to the shadows before I'm dragged into their insane antics. What kind of backup plan is this? Who are you? The question is not who am I, but rather who am I to you? Isn't that the same thing? Wrong. To you, I am superior. To you, I am omniscient. To you, I am your master. To you, I am the law. To you, we are the truth. What is this, a comedy duo? Maybe it's some kind of advanced intimidation tactic. The teacher certainly looks frightened enough. Either that or concerned about their mental health. Really? Shigure. Team Logic solving crimes at the speed of light. Surrender now or prepare to fight. Oh, that's right. Okay. Don't look at me, I don't know these people. Get back to your classes before I report you for truancy. Shigure becomes very still and her hands curl into fists. Here we go again. I am not another anesthetic catechumen. I am legitimate freelance detective, 26 years of age, officially licensed, and I am here on matters of extreme import. The teacher's eyes swirl at her excessively large vocabulary. As a result, there is no resistance when Shigure takes the podium, addressing the class students like a president at her inaugural address. Denizens of the city of Isamu, your cooperation is required for the situation most dire. For more information, I refer you to our head of public relations, Irie Hirata. She nods her head at Irie, who after a few moments of staring wordlessly at the podium steps up to the center of the classroom. Maybe despite her introverted tendencies, she's a really good speaker. At the very least, she can't be worse than Shigure. Are any of you murderers? Never mind, she could be worse than Shigure. Way worse. What kind of question is that? Are we in trouble? They're wasting our time. Well, desperate times calls for desperate measures. I need to get us out of here before we're expelled for disruption. What can I do? It seems like even that simple question has eluded their tiny brains. Try something different, Irie. Have you seen any strange events recently? I think we're witnessing a strange event right now. And someone speaks. Quickly, make your statement. Nothing, I just saw something outside. Of course, the old bait and switch trick. That'll get them to leave in a hurry. Outside, quick, after them. Chase that cab. As they bolt into the hallway, Irie pulls out her phone and taps idly on its surface. Within a few seconds, a police siren is playing from the speakers. Quick, after them. And she snappily walks away, siren still resounding from her phone. All eyes fall on me. The teacher only folds his arms, staring at me with a single raised eyebrow. What was that all about? I'd better just make a run for it. I promptly sprint out of the classroom, taking random turns until I finally feel safe. Well, I'm not sure where they went, but it's already time to rendezvous. I guess I'd better head to the roof. Okay, that was that one. Now let's go to the other one. Cafeteria. The cafeteria is not the only place where students retrieve food. It's also one of the most popular hangout places on campus. Class hasn't started yet, so maybe I can glean something from there. Sure enough, there's a solid quantity of students in the cafeteria. Several cliques are strewn around the assorted tables, deep in conversation. I noticed Misaki and Masato standing by one of the tables, judging by their scowls. Things aren't going so well. How do you expect us to gather any information if you keep scaring them like that? Probably means they're just hiding something. Didn't you see him shaking? That's probably because you grabbed him by his collar and actually started shaking him. How else were we going to get info out of him, Mitsuki? It's Misaki. And certainly not by intimidation, that's for sure. Well, aren't they getting along just swell? I should probably step in before things get ugly. Hey. Oh, hi Yama. Sup, man? Having any luck? I haven't got a thing thanks to a certain someone. She shoots Masato a pointed glare. Well, I ain't seen you doing much of anything. Because you frightened everyone off before I could even talk to them. Like I've said before, you need to conform to the crowd. Connect with them. If you can accomplish that, they'll likely open up to you. You sound like a politician, Miki. Do you really think so? Yeah, sure. I mainly meant that as a joke, but apparently she took it as a compliment. I ain't gonna change myself just to get what I need. And look where that's gotten you. Nothing. You think you can do any better? I don't think I can. I know I can. Masato gapes at her blatant trash talk. Is that a challenge? What else could it be? Let's go at it then, right here, right now. If that's the way you want it, bring it on. They close in on each other for a second and I think they're going to actually start brawling in the cafeteria, but then they both turn to me expectantly. Yama, be a referee. What? No. Why not? What would I even be doing? Just see who does a better job at talking to people, man. I have a feeling this isn't going to turn out well. Fine. Then I'll go first, considering how well Masato has been doing lately. Watch and learn, boys. Masato and I hang back as Misaki strides over to a nearby table of rugby players. Without waiting for an invitation, she pulls out an open chair and straddles it backwards, eyeing the student intensely. Yo, how's it hanging, bro? The students exchange perplexed glances. Hi, can we help you? Sure can, man. You see, I hear there's been some rumors floating around school. I was wondering if you guys knew anything about him. Not recently, no. You sure, man? I figured soccer players would be on point with all the latest news. We play rugby, not soccer. Misaki's composure falters, but she presses on. Right, rugby, the sport where you hit the ball with a racket and do hoops and score touchdowns. Well, will you look at that? I'm late for a doctor's appointment, gotta go. Misaki immediately flings herself out of the chair and walks back to listen up, leaving a group of bewildered rugby players whispering among themselves. So, are you leaving? What? Why would I? You said you had a doctor's appointment. Shut up, I panicked, okay? Besides, I chose the wrong group of people. Of course rugby players wouldn't know anything. You mean, soccer players? I will cut you, Yama. Well, looks like it's my turn. I hope you're ready to lose, Mikasa. Before Misaki has the chance to put Masato in an armbar for getting her name wrong again, he jogs off towards the group of rowdy third years. Yo, I need to ask you guys something. The students either don't hear him or are purposely ignoring him. They continue laughing among themselves, swinging their lunch at each other with makeshift catapults of spoons. Hey, I'm talking to you. Masato raises his voice but still elicits no response from them. With his patience clearly depleted, he snatches a metal spoon from one of the students, and with his bare hands he bends it in half, The students gape at him in disbelief, immediately at full attention. Now that you're all listening, have any of you heard any rumors around school? No, we haven't. Not a thing. Please don't bend us like that spoon. Masato sighs. Never mind. He drops the bent spoon back on the table and ambles back to us, thoroughly kneading his temples. That certainly went well. Like you're in the position to talk. I'll redeem myself this next round, just you watch. How she can say that so confidently baffles me. She glances around the cafeteria, scouting out her next victim. Who should I pick? Oh, she seems to be a good candidate. I trace her gaze to a girl all donned in black clothing and metal piercings. Why she thinks she's a good candidate is beyond me. Misaki skips over, taking a seat beside her. Hey. She gives the student a nonchalant greeting as she lounges in the chair. Hey. So, how are you? Fine. She definitely picked a good candidate, alright. So, would you happen to know if there have been disturbances in the Force? I'm not a Jedi if that's what you're asking. No, I mean, you haven't heard any whispers of dark rumors in the netherworld, talks of depravity and sin, sacrificial rituals, goats. What are you going on about? The student cautiously inches away from Misaki, as if she were insane. Are you not a member of the cult of the Red Rose? The only cult I'm a part of is the Gardening Club. Strike 2. Sorry for bothering you, then goodbye. Misaki immediately slinks away and scurries back to us. Looks like I want to win this contest. And what makes you so sure about that? Sato points out to a lone first year sitting at the far edge of the cafeteria. Her head is buried behind a monster-sized textbook as she absent-mindedly picks her lunch. She seems like the type to know something. Try not to scare the poor girl, Masato. I ain't gonna scare her. Masato huffs off, seemingly determined to put an end to the contest. Hey. Yes? It looks like he's off to a great start. I need your help with something. Well, what do you need? Are there any rumors? Well, I might have heard something, I think. The girl shrinks in her seat as Masato inches closer and closer, and an intense expression still plastered on his face. It would have appeared comedic if the girl didn't look so horrified. I should probably step in. At this rate, we'll never get any info for Shigure. I walk over. Misaki trails behind me. Hi, sorry about my friend here. He gets a little worked up when he hasn't eaten. The hell, man? That's interference. It is interference if the contest is over. What? Who won? Both of you had sucking. That's fantastic. Both of you had sucking. I turn back to the girl and give her a light smile. Her shoulders seem to relax a bit. So, you mentioned you might have heard something? Yes, well no. What I mean is... It's alright if you don't know anything. My sister. Your sister? She told me yesterday night one of her friends went missing, Akane Tsukino. Akane? Where have I heard that name before? She's only been gone for 2 days, but she hasn't been answering her cell phone. But what's scary is that I heard 2 other students are going missing too. Touma Hayashi, who disappeared 5 days ago, Midori Maeno, who hasn't shown up for a whole 8 days. My sister has been really depressed about it lately. Her eyes gloss over. I debate whether to leave her be, but I still don't have enough info to take back to Shigure. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. Is there anything else you might know? Well, Akane is a really diligent person. She always makes sure to return to the dorms well before curfew sets in. Which is at 11:30 p.m., right? Right. Apparently she was present for curfew on the night she went missing. The same goes for the other two students. They were all lodged into the system. It's almost as if they suddenly vanished somewhere in the middle of the night. The girl wraps her arms around herself. I take that as my cue to go. That's all we needed. Thank you for all your help. Can I say something before you go? Sure, what is it? Please, be careful. I lead our group back to the entrance of the cafeteria. Both Misaki and Masato trail behind me in silence. Which is a bit disconcerting, considering how gung-ho they were a few moments ago. You crushed their dreams, Yaba. Rightfully so, but you crushed their dreams, man. You guys alright? Oh yes. The disappearances have me a bit worried, is all. Didn't know people been so scared lately. How'd you get that girl to talk anyway, man? I was wondering the same thing. Huh? Oh no. I just listened, I guess. I see. They both seem to regard my response with deep consideration. Why? I have no clue. I take a glance at my phone. It looks like it's about time to rendezvous with the others. Okay, let's go back again. Rooftop. Maybe I need to take a step back and look at the bigger picture. The rooftop is always a good place for a bird's eye view of the campus. I was looking for scenery. The rooftop would be an ideal place to do so. Open-faced and stretching high above the majority of the school, the rooftop is ripe with luscious trees and flowers blooming in aesthetic arrangements. It's also fairly quiet. It's not a bad rooftop scene, I guess. And there's not much details in the leaves, but that's kind of common for trees. And like the grass is kind of fuzzy. Like over here and stuff. But there's enough like little details, so it's not bad. It's also fairly quiet, which is pretty surprising how nice it is. Then again, most of the students would rather be fiddling around on their phone or social media. But I don't really have time to sit and take a look around, so I head right to the edge of the greenhouse to get a good look at the campus. No, I know from this that this is definitely a Hiko. No girls around the booth. It's kind of boring. That definitely sounds like a Hiko. Akari? Why? These trees are just as pretty as girls. And that's I called her Akari. Akira. And that's definitely Akira. What? Trees can't talk? Is it that the trees can't talk? Or that you can't hear the trees? Huh? Just because trees haven't had their civil rights movement yet doesn't mean that they don't have a voice. I slide around the edge of the roof towards the voices. I spot Akira perched on the branch of a large tree and Yahiko slumped in a bench by a bed of roses like a model. But trees don't have brains. Neither do you, Yahiko, apparently. You don't either. And look how well you talk. I do talk well, don't I? Yahiko, she said you had no brain. I'm not surprised that he missed that. I am surprised that Akari would think of such a sarcastic reply. Maybe Rui's rubbing off on her. Wait, what are we looking for again? The meaning of life. You can find that on the rooftop? Well, it depends on what the meaning of life is to you. Can there be multiple meanings of life? That's also up to you. This is too confusing. Forget it. Let's look for whatever we're supposed to look for, my good minion. Oh, I wouldn't expect to find the meaning of life in the afternoon. You're not looking for the meaning of life. On the contrary, everyone's looking for the meaning of life. I choose that moment to make my presence known by sliding forward. Akira's face lights up in a brief smile as she waves me over. Sup a doodle dandy, Cap. which is probably short for captain. Why does she keep referring to me with all these military titles? Yama, my good minion, help a poor man in spirit. Won't you? What's that supposed to mean? I can't seem to remember what we're supposed to be looking for. I tried asking the scroll, but I'm an Atari 400. Okay, that one's beyond even me. You know, Atari 400, one of those old computers with a really tiny memory. Oh, that makes sense. In other words, I can't remember either. Why does she look so happy about this fact? Randomly disappearing students. Ring a bell. Ah. Say no more, my man. Leave it to me. Leave it to me too. I want to see the root of our problems. Besides, I've taken into mysteries. They are growing on me. I agree with Yama on this 100%. I can't decide whether those puns are fantastic or terrible. It's like Govermecker. Maybe they're both, as puns usually are. You talk weird, my minion, but as your benevolent leader, I can overlook your little idiocies. That's a little ironic coming from a guy who can't even properly say idiosyncrasies. I was trying to figure out what word he was saying. Magisticalityness? Okay. Understood. Gracious Supreme High Magisticalityness. What move should we make next? I want that as a title. Yahiko's chest swells up for a moment, clearly pleased with being called Gracious Supreme whatever. I'd better jump in before it turns disastrous. I need to do something about the case. I say we branch out. Maybe separate investigations would bear some fruit. Enough of the plant puns, Akira. Is it driving you nutty? I'll get you sick of more puns yet. He's not looking happy. I'm proud of you, Yahiko. Oh crap, I can't stop hearing puns, even unintentional ones. Should we cherry him up, or would that just soil it? Wouldn't that take too long? Okay, bring it back. This isn't a comedy show. We need to focus on the case. I know we're in bad shape when I'm the person who has to get everyone organized. You're a real soil sport, Yama. Because plant puns are stupid beyond belief. I didn't mean to say it like that. Say what? Let's just review what we're looking for. You really don't need to be so snappy, Akira. It's the harshest I've ever spoken, but I can't help it. I can barely handle these two by themselves. Together, they harbor the potential destructive power of a nuclear weapon. Oh, look at their faces. How could you do that to them, Yama? So she's very certain that there's a lead to the disappearances at the school. Have you guys found anything out? Ah, my good minion, I'm glad you asked. As I'm sure you're aware by now, the great Yahiko Ikari sustains a large and precise intelligence network called Pattern. He delicately whips out his phone, pulling out some social media app or another. Yes, I see. But have you the mind frame magic mirror of fruititious awesomeness? Are you sure you can handle all this information? I'm sure I can't handle Akira constantly talking like that. I must take upon this burden for the greater good. Do not hold back your masterfulest benevolence. Very well. He dramatically flings out an arm, pointing his phone to the sky as if calling down thunder from the heavens. But first, I require reception. Your unlimited omniscience. That's a bit sad, isn't it? Well, reception is up here. Can't you just use the school Wi-Fi? Why, so I can! And the cap strikes again. I worry for the decaying common sense of my generation. I feel that, Yama. I feel that. Okay, here's what we got. Patter, my wish is your command. You must now search for me. Number 11BA. How do you manage to say that in a completely serious voice? I have no clue. What exactly does 11BA stand for? Oh, it's I. It's an I, not a 1. Okay. Instant iguanas by architecture, of course. Really? All this time with I'm at Isamu Imperial Boarding Academy. This combo is a disaster in the making. How about you just tell me what you find? Right. Scanning through the extensive network of plebeians. A momentary pause as Yahiko's fingers flick wildly over the screen. Yep. Uh-huh. Got it. What exactly does that mean? Allow me to enlighten you, minion. Alright, we'll stop here for this episode and we'll continue on going through the rest of them and whatnot in the next episode. I am tatocat. If you haven't already, like, comment, and subscribe. Have a wonderful morning, evening, afternoon.